Welcome to Chalk Talk with Chuck. I am Chuck. This has been a dream of mine to do. I'm literally doing this podcast because for however long I can remember, I've wanted to talk about sports into a microphone. I'd like to thank my sister who's going to be doing the editing for this, thank Bill Simmons, thank the guys who do PMT, and thank all my friends who have had sports talks and discussions with me throughout my life. I didn't know podcasting was a thing till I was in college, and once I found out about it, I just thought to myself, that's what I want to do. And I'm doing it. So this is me giving it a shot. Don't know if it'll work out. Hope it does, because it would be my dream to do this for a career. Without further ado, let's dive in and get into talking about these games coming up this weekend. I want to say primarily that, I think I'm peeking this mic out, which is freaking me out. I don't know. Welcome to Chalk Talk with Chuck. I think this is about the appropriate volume to have this on. All right. Welcome to Chalk Talk with Chuck. Welcome to Chalk Talk with Chuck. I'm Chuck. This is a dream of mine. I've wanted to podcast about sports ever since I heard about podcasts in college. I am 25 years old, and I do have a regular job, so most of this stuff is going to be around one take or one try because I am busy. I want to thank my sister, who is going to be editing all the podcasts for me, Holly. She is a film student at Colorado, and if you hear this and for some reason think that, oh, that sounds really good, or this guy's doing a lot of great work with the editing or the mic work, that's my sister, it's not me, and you should hire her, because she's the driving force behind this. I'm just the guy who's talking about sports, or at least she's the driving force behind the technological side. She's the one who got me the right kind of mic and the right recording device and all of that stuff. Without her, none of this is possible, and I can't thank her enough, and I will make sure that this is at the beginning of every podcast. And then for the first episode, I'd like to thank Bill Simmons and the guys at Pardon My Take, Big Cat and PFT. You guys are an inspiration to me. I love sports, and I didn't know that there was a platform like this to talk about sports, and now that I do, it's all I want to do. And I'd love to wake up in the morning and just feel like I'm doing this. I'm doing my hobby for a job. And so that's the goal here. See how it goes. I'll probably have 15 listeners who tell me I don't know shit about anything. So that's great. That's what sports are about. And I'd like to thank all of my friends who I've had sports arguments with throughout my life, because hopefully they've sharpened and harnessed or at least sharpened my skills to a point where talking about it with you guys is interesting, and my points come off as persuasive, but also they come off as something that you feel like you could have a conversation with me about. And I don't want to be overwhelming to you. I just want you guys to feel like you can talk with me about sports and you're just listening to one of your buddies say things. So that's sort of the ultimate goal. And hopefully I can, in the future, have some of my buddies come on here and talk with me. My buddy Cheekies, Junior, Ray, and Riley. I plan to have that, but for the first episode, I'm gonna do this solo. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go over the NFL games that are coming up this weekend. For reference, it is the 20th of January. I'm aware of the other event that happened today. I do live in Washington, D.C. from Utah, but I'm aware what happened today. I am ready to go over this game. And first thing I'd like to say is there's two Pac-12, two Mountain West quarterbacks in the conference finals. I know only one of them's playing, but that's Josh Allen, who I saw play in college, and he's playing the Chiefs. And the other is Jordan Love, the backup to Aaron Rodgers, who honestly deserves the MVP trophy. Or at least they should co-MVP it with him, because there's no way Aaron Rodgers plays this way unless they draft him in the first round. I don't care what you say. Jordan Love deserves the co-MVP trophy. He deserves at least a shout-out in the speech. And if he doesn't get a shout-out in the speech, or somebody writes some goofy article about him on The Ringer and how he motivated Aaron Rodgers to be a better player, I don't want to fucking hear anything about Aaron Rodgers' season. Quite frankly, I don't like Aaron Rodgers at all, and I was stoked that the quarterback from my school was going to replace him. I love watching Aaron Rodgers play, but fuck Aaron Rodgers. This guy never stops being good. Even with his team, who honestly, like where in the name of God does this team come from? They got their throats pulled out by San Francisco in the conference championship last year. They're so bold as to be like, well, we don't know if Roger has it anymore. We're going to draft a quarterback. And then the guy just comes out and throws more touchdowns than punts they had this season. It's fucking exhausting. It's exhausting. And, the first game this weekend is the Packers-Bucks game, and we saw it earlier this year. And to be honest, I was so excited for that Packers-Bucks game. Sunday night, it's going to be, the marquee of the NFC, or it's supposed to be the marquee of the NFC, and it's a blowout. It's an absolute blowout. Like, what the fuck? I hate when that shit happens, All week, all I hear about is the Packers versus the Bucks, the Packers versus the Bucks, and then the next thing you know, it's fucking 38-10. 38-10? Rodgers threw for 160 yards and 2 touchdowns on 35 attempts. Brady only threw for $166, but at least he threw for 2 touchdowns. Rojo had a huge game. And that's the interesting thing about this, right? This is going to be a game where either Green Bay's defense absolutely fucks all the momentum they've had all season, or Rodgers comes out and just stomps and is like, yeah, Tampa's got a pretty good defense, but at the end of the day, I'm Aaron Rodgers. And if that's the case and that's what happens, like, how mad can you be? If Aaron Rodgers just comes out and at the age that he's playing at, comes out and just crushes the Bucks' hopes, all in one sweep, whatever. But I would love to see the Bucks beat them, and I don't even like either of these quarterbacks. I'm a huge Steelers fan. Aaron Rodgers ripped my heart out in 2010. Brady rips my heart out almost every year following that the Steelers make the AFC Championship. Brady single-handedly really kind of ruins what is a Steelers dynasty. Without the Patriots in the way, the Steelers win 2 or 3 more Super Bowls. With Roethlisberger and Brown, but they could never get over the Brady-Belichick hump, and I think it caused a lot of locker room issues. That, and they kept AB around for too long. But think of how much shit Brady ruined in the AFC. You really think I want to see him in the Super Bowl? No, but I also don't want to see Green Bay make the Super Bowl and have Kansas City or Buffalo meet them there, and their defense can't stop. Their defense last week in the first half had a hard time stopping Goff. Goff, with one thumb. Jared Goff has fucked more bets for me in my lifetime than any quarterback will if he retired this year. There could be any quarterback. I would never bet that confidently on a team because LA's got the best defense. They've got the offensive head coach who's a total guru. And all you need is a quarterback who is mildly competent and mildly confident to run the offense. And the guy fucks me every third week. Not even every third week. It's like every other week. I'm like, well, they won last week. There's no reason that they shouldn't beat Miami this week. Nope. Oh, fuck. Never mind. No reason they shouldn't beat San Francisco this week. Last week, they took down the Kansas City Chiefs. And that didn't even happen this season. But this is just the scenario that team lives in. I fucking hate them. Should learn not to bet them, but it's impossible. Every game seems like the perfect tease or the perfect parlay, slot to win it. And Jared Goff ends up fucking it all into the dirt, man. It's unbelievable. It's unfucking believable. So yeah, they didn't impress me in the first half, and then Rodgers just comes out and does his thing and kind of kills the momentum of that defense in the second half. And the defense looked tired. Aaron Donald, man, that guy put it all out there, huh? Crying at the end of a divisional loss. I love to see that shit. I don't care what people say about this, like, no crying in sports bullshit. I love it. Aaron Donald's a fucking dog. He goes out there and he fights every single down. Fights so hard that he's crying at the end of a divisional round game. Not like he doesn't know what it's like to go to the Super Bowl either. The guy's been to a Super Bowl. He's a fucking dog, dude. I love that shit. So I was unimpressed by Green Bay. Even for how much they won by. People probably are gawking at that. I watched so much football this year. And I kept always thinking, man, Green Bay. Yeah, they keep winning, but their division sucks. Some of these wins are not that impressive. I mean, they really barely beat... They squeak out an 8-point win against the Panthers. They beat the Lions by 7 points. The fucking Lions? You know? I mean, and yeah, 32-18 is impressive. Especially in the, in your first playoff game. But here's a point that needs to be made here, and I'll get more into it, but the factor of Lambeau is going to be fucking huge for this team. Fucking huge. And I'll get into it when I kind of dive into the Bucs here in a second. But yeah, I mean, they lost to the Vikings. They hammered San Francisco. Brutal. But they barely beat the Jags. I don't know. It's just like, if you don't have a defense that can stop teams, and you don't have a defense that can, get you the ball back in late game scenarios, it doesn't matter how good Rodgers is. Because if this game's close, I love the Bucs. They've got the better defense. If this game comes down to Tom Brady's got the ball with, 3.5 minutes left and they're up by 4, I'm like, well, man, Green Bay can't stop them. Can't stop the run. Can't stop the pass. Fuck it. Stamp their tickets. They're going to the Super Bowl, man. I mean, that's just how I feel. But, Rodgers has that unique ability to just kind of say fuck it and blow teams out. And I'll give my predictions after I break down each team. But Tampa is really fortunate that they played the Saints when they played them. And you got to give it to the NFL. The product for COVID hasn't dropped at all, but you can really tell that there are certain teams that lean on dome home field advantage really hard. And there's no team that leans on it more than the Saints. There's no advantage for the Saints right now, or last week. There was no advantage for them because there's no crowd there. Green Bay has an advantage because Lambeau's cold. You saw that. LA can't play in the cold. And Drew Brees really couldn't play in the cold, and that's why I think regardless of who won this game, or not regardless, but if the Saints did end up winning last week, they go to Green Bay, and I think they get stomped just because Drew Brees is not playing in cold weather with his arm right now. But I guess that point doesn't really matter. But the point that I'm trying to make is teams like Minnesota, teams like the Saints, and other teams around the league that play in domes that rely on home field advantage, the Colts, this whole playing outside in the weather kills them more than it kills teams to go visit them in the first round of the playoffs. And so, Kansas City isn't at an advantage this week. Buffalo's colder than Kansas City. Buffalo's cold as hell. Right off of one of the Great Lakes with that northeast, humid cold. Going to Kansas City, I mean, it's no advantage Kansas City. I know that they've got fans in Kansas City, and there's some fans in Buffalo, but that is my point, is that Green Bay has a little bit of an advantage. It's not much. It's maybe worth half a point gambling, a full point gambling, but it's worth something. where I think the Superdome's worth nothing. I think it's worth nothing gambling. And we saw Tampa kind of put it all together last week playing the Saints. Had a good defensive game, picked Drew Brees off 3 times. Was it 3 or 4? Yeah, they picked him off 3 times, and there were 4 turnovers with the Jared Cook fumble. Brady threw 2 touchdowns and 299, just under 300, or 199, just under 200 yards. And they let Fournette and Rojo cook. It was a really good game. It was a good game played by them, and I think they're just going to be at a small, not large disadvantage because Brady played in Foxborough for his whole career with the cold. It's not a huge disadvantage, but, aging quarterback in the cold, never good, and nobody's played in Lambeau more than fucking Aaron Rodgers, it feels like. I'm sure Brett Favre did. Because he went to Minnesota. But yeah, it's going to be a great game. And if I'm going to be honest, I think the Bucs are going to pull it out. It's going to be obnoxious. You're going to get the whole Brady thing. And I think the Bucs are going to pull it out because it's going to be a close game. And that's just, that's just the way it goes. Everyone's saying I don't see who can beat this Green Bay team. I don't get that. That argument is just beyond me. My roommate's a huge Green Bay fan, and we watched Green Bay and we're like, God, that defense couldn't stop a toddler on a tricycle. And I say this, Cam Akers had 90 yards and a touchdown, and Jared Goff only threw for 174. But it felt like at the end of that first half, they were driving the ball, and the game felt closer than it was. Felt closer than it was. But, who knows? Who knows? And I'm going to put my money down on Tampa Bay. I'm not going to doubt Brady until he loses a game like this late in his career. I've been waiting for him to kind of lose the playoff game or lose the big one, and it just hasn't happened. They looked so bad against the Saints, and every statistic told you not to bet them, to bet the Saints. Teams that are 2-0 during the season are like 8-0 and 24-4, some bullshit stat like that over the past 10 years when they face a team for the 3rd time in the playoffs. And you just knew. And I didn't even just know. I fell for the stats thing. I fell for the whole, yeah, you're right. There's no way Breeze is going to lose to Brady in this scenario. And I was just fucking wrong. That Saints defense had some insane stat this year where they didn't give up a touchdown for like 36 quarters. I don't think it was 36, but it was like 16 or 18 quarters. We're talking games at a time. They don't give up a touchdown, and they just lied down, man. They looked defeated about midway through the 3rd. And you can kind of hear the mumbles of like, this is horrible, this is Breeze's last game. At least the mumbles on Twitter weren't very much mumbles; they were shouts. And then Breeze, now Breeze is gone for the most part. I think everyone is assuming he's mouthing to Jameis Winston, "This is your team now." What a horrifying thought if you're Sean Payton. I'm all for Jameis Winston playing. Don't get me wrong; it's so entertaining. Last year, I have Sunday Ticket. Last year on Sunday Ticket, I used to just flip out waiting. He had to be, and there has to be a stat like this, but last year he had to have thrown the most pick sixes on opening possessions ever in NFL history. He had to have. And it's inexcusable because he had so many weapons. So many fucking weapons. And somehow Brady has more this year, which is so weird. Somehow Gronk is getting open. I don't get that at all. I don't get that. How the fuck is Gronk getting open? The guy, when he runs, it looks painful. He's going to look like Warren Moon. Have you ever seen those videos of Warren Moon getting off like air? I think it's Warren Moon. Like going for a stroll. And it just looks like that guy can't fucking walk anymore, dude. It's so sad. And you know Gronk's not going to be able to walk when he's like 55. It sucks. But when you watch him, he looks like he's 30. He looks like he's 48 running these routes and he's still getting open. The guy's a fucking beast. Scotty Miller. Why does Tom Brady have to make a short white guy good? I don't get that at all. It's like Tom Brady rolls into the locker room and he's like, yeah, okay, I've got two tremendous wide receivers in Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. He's like, where's the shortest white guy who works on the staff? Put pads on that guy. Does he have like a weird lacrosse name? All right, yeah. He's going to get a lot of touches in the slot this year. He's just yelling at the coaching staff. Who's that guy who washes the jerseys? Oh, Scotty Miller? Yeah, what did he play in college? Oh, he was a lacrosse player. Perfect, put him in pads. Ever played football? He says he played Pee-wee. All right, that's enough for me. That's what Tom Brady says about a guy like Scotty Miller. And I know Scotty Miller probably has like a really good college career or whatever and was around before the Brady thing. But that's just what it feels like every time Tom Brady finds a new white guy to throw the ball to. It's like, fuck, dude. Yeah, he played Pee-wee ball. Where? Scotty, where are you from? Vermont. You know, I doubt they even play Pee-wee ball in Vermont. It's so fucking liberal. Gotta watch out for their heads. But yeah, I mean, good for Tom. He did it again. Found his new target. Found his new favorite guy, Scotty Miller. And he's going to take him to the fucking Super Bowl. And you watch, Scotty Miller's due for some stupid good game in the playoffs. And I swear to God, I know Tom Brady threw a touchdown pass to him. But during the middle of the season, it felt like Tom Brady didn't even know Chris Godwin was a receiver on his team. And I know Godwin went through a few injury woes and whatnot. But my God. I won my fantasy league and I played this guy in our fantasy league who had a fucking awesome team, including Chris Godwin on the team. Even this last week, Godwin, 4 receptions for 34 yards. He did drop one. Would have been an incredible catch. He did drop a touchdown. But God, it's like, dude, are you aware that guy's on your team? That's the incredible thing about Brady. He threw one pass that was received by Mike Evans for 3 yards. It was a touchdown. But without that pass, Mike Evans doesn't even... I mean, I know he's got like the knee thing. But he's fucking Mike Evans. It's incredible. Yeah, Scotty Miller, 1 reception for 29 yards. That's the calm before the storm, folks. Scotty Miller is going to catch 7 passes for 165 and a touchdown, and he's going to have like a huge kick return or punt return off of some fucking momentum shit in the third quarter. You watch. Scotty Miller, he's hard-nosed, man. The cold doesn't bother him. He's going to be playing in short sleeves. That's enough of that game. You've got my prediction. Bucks and take the yardage for Scotty Miller on the over. And when I'm wrong on both of those, flame me. Please, flame me on the internet. Just fucking destroy me. I guess we'll jump into the Kansas City game. I love this game. I love the Bills, man. I think everyone in the country loves the Bills. I don't think it's unique anymore. You know, like, I mean, Barstool's done the whole thing where they're you know, the built tough and everything, and and nobody circles the wagons and the whole thing. Barstool, kudos. Dave Portnoy, kudos. You guys were on it. And, I mean, I just love watching him. I saw Josh Allen play in college because I went to Utah State. And yes, I saw Jordan Love play as well. And I saw a lot of shitty teams play because it's the Mountain West. Saw a lot of good teams play, though, too. So it was cool. Go Aggies. And, hope we can get our program turned around, but that's neither here nor there right now. What's here is Josh Allen is playing like an MV fucking P, dude. He's not going to win it, which is a shame because they're going to give it to old man Rodgers. But, man, if there was Most Improved Player award in the NFL, it'd have to go to Josh Allen. He's so fucking good. He's so good. And he's so fun to watch. He was fun to watch last year because he was erratic and a little bit neurotic in the pocket. Like, you'd be like, oh, what the fuck is Josh Allen going to do next? You never fucking know, He's leading his team in rushing in the postseason, which is just a wild stat. And, of course, I love Zach Moss. I think he's a great running back, and he's going to be great for them next year. But, Allen, the guy's a beast. 69% completion rating. An average of 7.9 yards a throw. He's averaging 311 yards a game. 37 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Take sacks. He's got 26 sacks on the season. Quarterback rating of 107. The guy... any team's happy to have that. And when Buffalo puts it completely together, and they haven't put their playoff game together yet, I think everyone who watches the sport knows that. But man, when they put the full game together like they did in the first half against Miami, they look invincible. Like they did against Pittsburgh. I know the first half of that game was tight, but they really and they tore our hearts out in the second half. But they do it. They've had complete games this season, and when they do it, it's fucking awesome. And they were 9 points away from beating the Chiefs earlier in the year in Buffalo. Offense wasn't there yet, though. They beat the Broncos 48-19. And then they beat the Patriots 38-9, and then they beat the Dolphins 56-26. And that Dolphins team needed the win that week. Those were the 3 games going into the playoffs. You couldn't ask, and we'll go back one more week to when they beat Pittsburgh 26-15. They just caught fire. And they get in and they play the Colts, and you can tell there's like that jittery negative energy in the air. Like, oh, here we go, it's Buffalo. Lost 4 Super Bowls straight. It's Buffalo, hasn't played a home playoff game since Jesus, since Moses led the Jews across the Red Sea. These guys can't win at home in the playoffs. And then he does it, man. And they get that first win. And then they just... I know they didn't score a lot against the Ravens, but they held the Ravens to 0 touchdowns. That's awesome. Any NFL team to 0 touchdowns. You rarely see it. They held the Patriots to no touchdowns. Their defense has. And they've had a bunch of 1-touchdown games, but 0 touchdowns in the playoffs? And I know the argument that people are going to make about that is, well, the Ravens offense isn't really what it's all chalked up to be. I don't care. Lamar Jackson won MVP last year. Are we going to forget about the whole Lamarvelous thing already? I'll tell you this, I'm a Steeler fan. Lamar Jackson still scares me. And you're lying to yourself if you don't think, well, that guy can do it any week. He can just take off. And yeah, I think, to some extent the NFL found him out a bit this year. And the run isn't as effective as it was last year. But, come on. The guy has rushed for 1,000 yards in back-to-back seasons. Sure, he's got to put the passing game together a little bit more, but the guys are good. And you're being an asshole, and you're being so fucking, Such a pompous NFL fan if you're like, oh, he doesn't scare me. The guy can only run. Best running back in the league. Oh, you know what I say to you? Oh, go fuck yourself, dude. A year ago, you were stroking him, telling me that he's changing the game. He's a good quarterback. And they held him to no touchdowns. They held last year's MVP to no touchdowns. And the order is much taller this week because the best quarterback that I've ever seen play, and I know that sounds outrageous maybe to say, but anybody who's been watching the game is like, yeah, you're right. That's who they play this week. They play Pat Mahomes. And they play Andy Reid. And Sean McDermott is a young coach. I mean, maybe not young in age, but, young in experience. And McDermott's got a tall order. He's got to come out here and beat the dynamic duo, the next dynasty. A team that since Patrick Mahomes has been their starting quarterback has not missed the conference finals. Holy fuck, man. How awesome is that? How great is it to be a Kansas City fan right now? Just take a step back and listen to that stat. Fucking A, man. Oh, you mean Patrick Mahomes, the guy who, since we started him at our starting quarterback position, has led us to a conference championship every year? If Dee Ford doesn't jump off sides against the Patriots, we get that pick and we go to the Super Bowl both years he's been our starting quarterback. Oh, that guy? And you're on crack if you think that Pat Mahomes isn't playing this week. Roger Goodell will kill 40 doctors. He will. He'll kill 40 doctors to make sure Mahomes plays. He gets the call from, I don't even know who the owner of the Chiefs is, but he gets the call from the Chiefs owner, and the guy's like, hey, man, you can't go. He fucked up some nerve in his neck. I don't know. He can't go. And Goodell just hangs up the phone, and he's like, who's the doctor? Oh, it's Dr. Jorgensen. It's the best in Kansas City. All right. He hangs up the phone and he calls a hitman, and that guy's dead. And you know that he doesn't have an amateur hitman. You know he's killed guys before over shit like this. There's no way he's letting. Goodellbot is not letting the Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes round 2 of the season in the conference championship go to waste. No fucking way. The 2 best young quarterbacks in the AFC? No way. Maybe the 2 best young quarterbacks in the NFL, honestly. I'm trying to think of 2 better young quarterbacks. Don't ever breathe Kyler Murray's name into that conversation. Or just not yet. It's obnoxious, man. The guy has like 4 good games at the beginning of the year, and everyone's like, here he is, man. Here's his coming out party. It's like, dude, Cliff Kingsbury's his coach. Just give it a minute. Like, who the fuck is Cliff Kingsbury? Oh, I hate that shit, man. NFL teams that try to get cute. Oh, fucking cute, cheeky little hires. Like, somebody's going to hire somebody out of the blue, We're going to be like, what the fuck? Like, Detroit just hired some guy. I have no fucking idea who he is. He's like the tight ends coach from the Saints. Like, what is... Did you know Eric Bieniemy's on the market? That's my first thought. Oh, you must not have known that Eric Bieniemy's on the market. The guy who's been to 3 conference championships in a row. Oh, yeah, him. The offensive coordinator for the most dynamic offense in the NFL. Oh, that guy. It's not like Andy Reid disciples haven't had success. Fucking Doug Peterson won a Super Bowl. Doug fucking Peterson won a Super Bowl. He's a Reid disciple. I can't believe Philadelphia fired him. Man, they took that fucking... What do you call it? The fucking just like obvious loss. Just taking the L, and now the obvious tank. There it is. The word came to me. Man, they took that tanking thing to heart, didn't they, in Philadelphia? Holy fuck. But yeah, I mean, they fucking fired Doug Peterson. Unbelievable. Obviously got off on a tangent there. But yeah, I love this Buffalo team. And these are two teams that haven't put it all together. Kansas City didn't look that impressive and hasn't looked that impressive the past couple of weeks. If we're all being honest. Like, what has Kansas City done over the past couple of weeks that's made you been like, oh yeah, that's the Super Bowl championship team we know. Squeaked out a win against the fucking Shitkins, dude. The Atlanta Shitkins. That team fucking sucks. Oh, I hate Atlanta. Not the city or the people or anything like that. I just fucking hate that football team. I've never liked Matt Ryan. He's always just felt so mediocre. I mean, Jesus. And Dan Quinn wasn't a very good coach, it turns out. Had great coaches around him, though, man. Holy shit, McVay and Shanahan. Jesus Christ. And aren't they all Jay Gruden guys? That's the craziest thing, man. Jay fucking Gruden. Somebody make him a GM. I'd be like, yo, bro, your coaching staff was sick, but you suck. You as a head coach, oh my God, but holy fuck, you got an eye for young coaching talent. I hate his older brother, man, John. Honestly, I bet John Gruden's like a great guy to like talk to or whatever, but man, I fucking hate his personality on the football field. Like, oh, I'm an asshole. I'm a dick. But I'm also going to host Monday Night Football. Like, pick a side, dude. Pick a side. You were so fucking cheerio in the box. Can't look at you and think of you as an asshole. And you didn't really ever accomplish anything as a head coach. I know you won a Super Bowl, but like, get off your high horse. I digress. Kansas City versus Buffalo. I like the Bills. I do, because I don't think Kansas City, I don't think that they're capable of putting together the complete game. They've slept for too long. The Bear has been hibernating for too long, and he's coming out a little late. And this Bills team's been eaten. They've been eaten. I know Kansas City only lost 2 games, but man, some of those wins are unimpressive. And I have a feeling that the fucking Chiefs are going to sleep a little bit in this game. Because they've been sleeping all season. And they're going to come out to a fucking hungry-ass Buffalo team who wants nothing more than to go to the Super Bowl and win the first one for their city. And Allen and Diggs got great chemistry, and I know I'm an idiot for sleeping on fucking Pat Mahomes. And I know I'm going to bite my words, and I know that it's totally contradicting everything I said about Brady just a couple of minutes ago. But, I mean, I fucking love... part of the reason of me picking the Bills is honestly, I love watching them, and I want them to win. Can I get a line on this game? I'm on the worst, by the way, it's not my bookie's fault, but I'm on the cheapest, shittiest book in fucking America, dude. It's unbelievable. Yeah, I've got Kansas City laying 3. I love Buffalo to cover the spread regardless. It's going to be a close game. And if you can tease it, all the better. Tease it Kansas City's way. Do a 6-point tease, get Kansas City at +3. +2. Somewhere around there. Yeah, +3. And then get... I don't know. My book's teases are so fucking trash, man. Be like 6-point tease on a -3, and it goes to fucking +2, and you're like, what? +2.5. Isn't that a 5.5 point? And then it's not worth doing the fucking like whole, oh well, let me talk to the bookie thing. Because I don't really know the guy. And then, I love the tease. I'd tease both of these games with the overs, especially the Buffalo-Kansas City game. The Buffalo-Kansas City game just feels like, oh, okay, well, that's going to hit the over. I don't care what they set it at. 56? Sure. Both the teams are going to score 35. And it's so funny. All week, you guys ever look at this shit on like ESPN? They've got like the chance percentage win radar, and I don't care how accurate it is. Fuck that thing. The over-under's at 54. Sounds tasty to me. 6-point tease. Tease it down. Take the over. 48. And then take Buffalo at plus fucking 9. That's money. And then if you want to just throw the other game and make it, the full 4 tees here, and we'll go for the full circuit, see if I can lock you guys into some money. And I wouldn't bet the way that I bet. But fuck it. I do bet the way that I bet. Green Bay -3. Yeah, sure. Tease it up to Green Bay plus 9. There's no way Green Bay's losing this game by more than 9 points. Or no, sorry. Green Bay -3. Yeah, you know what? I'd tease it up and go Buccaneers plus 9. Fuck it. Love that, because I think the Bucs are going to win the game outright. I'm going to bet them money line. And then they set the over-under at 51. Again, you tease that down. You get that at 40. I'm not a dumbass. Am I a dumbass? 5? 45? Man, that took me a long time. As you can tell, I'm not a math guy. But yeah, you get that at 45. Man, money line plus 155 in favor of the Bucs. I fucking love that. That screams parlay me with a bunch of shitty NBA games that are going to fuck me over later in the week. What are the NBA games Sunday? Why does the NBA even air games on this day? Somebody's got to call up the fucking commissioner and be like, hey, by the way, conference championship that Sunday, don't play any games. And they're like, no, we're going to go for the full slate. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 fucking games. That's half the league is playing on a Sunday when they're going to get no views. And then the NBA's like, man, we're struggling with views. It's like, oh yeah, because remember you ran games on conference championship night? They're like, well, the first one started at 1. I live in the East Coast. It's like, oh yeah, well guess what I'm watching at that time? I'm watching Barstool Sports Advisors and listening to Bill Simmons. I'm not fucking watching the Raptors play the Pacers. 2 teams floating around 500. I can tell you that much. And I'm not even shitting on the NBA. I love watching the NBA. But like, I wish somebody would just make it a law. Well, the NFL's this time, and then the NBA's this time, and there's no overlap. Or if there is, it's like the first week of the NBA is during that bye week before the Super Bowl. Because it's fucking obnoxious, man. I got people sending me memes about the NBA and asking me questions about what I think about the MVP race and shit. And I'm like, I didn't even know it was on. And it happens every year. I watch like the first week of the NBA because I'm excited to see all the new players and the new faces and new places. And then I'm like, okay, well, this isn't going to be good for another 4 months. The NFL's good from week 1, by the way. The NFL figured out perfectly how to make games count. College games count too much. The NBA games don't count enough. I'm talking about the regular season. And the NFL, they count the perfect amount. They fucking nailed it, dude. College, they count too much. You can't lose. That's so fucking lame. Your team loses and you're like, well, there's always next year. That's a joke. That's so bad. College football needs to figure that shit out. And you want to know what the answer is? 16-team playoff. 8-team playoff. Let's fucking get rid of these early season games where Ohio State's playing fucking Stony Brook. And Bowling Green. Shout out Bowling Green, shout out Urban Meyer. But let's get rid of those games, man. It's so ridiculous. Fucking college football. Pull it together. Come on. Get on my level. Yeah. So those are my predictions for the week. And, if you disagree or whatever, I don't know. I hope this... I'm probably going to put this on YouTube. I don't know where else I'd put it. My sister says she knows how to put it on Spotify or whatever, but I feel like there's got to be thresholds to the shit. Like if I get like a couple hundred listeners, I'll be like, okay, well I'm on Spotify now. But I'm sure I'm only gonna get like 12 listeners a week. Like no need to waste anybody's like Spotify's time or whatever. So I'll put this shit up on YouTube. You guys can listen to it, and if you're like, oh my god, dude, you're delusional, comment in the section below. Who knows? Maybe I'll fucking call you out and call you up. You can hop on the fucking mic and we can see where you land. I don't know. And that's a wrap for the first show. Thank you so much if you listened to the whole thing. Very dope of you. And I'll be back. Hopefully like on Sunday morning I can get a hold of Junior and we can go through our bets, and maybe not Sunday morning, but like Saturday night. We can go through our bets during like Saturday, and then Sunday morning we throw the fucking pod up and people will listen to it. It'd be dope. Yeah. Hopefully this is out on Thursday. It's Wednesday. Or like Friday or something. I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to upload it now. So peace out. Thank you guys.